So my friend has an '03 mineral gray Terminator Cobra convertible, but he's also had two silver Terminator convertibles, and this is the second one that he's had here. And he just decided to sell it, and he was on the hunt to find a 10th anniversary convertible Terminator Cobra, also in silver, and he wants to put the same wheels on it as well and make it look just like this one. But the main reason why is because he loves the 10th anniversary seats, and he's tired of the Alcantara suede inserts on the Cobra seats balling up when they get a lot of use. So the hunt was on to find a 10th anniversary Cobra. And a lot of times when you look for Cobras for sale, if you don't find them from the people selling them themselves on the forums or on Facebook, you end up finding a bunch of them at dealerships, and some of them are really nice cars that have been traded in, and others are mediocre cars that have been traded in. And so we were looking at this one, and he was asking me what I thought about it, and we got to looking at the pictures of it. It's a torch red one, so really neat car. It's just like the one I have, but mine's a coupe. But you can see the 10th anniversary steering wheel and the red seats and everything in here, the carbon fiber leather on the shift knob and the shift boot and parking brake boot and all that stuff that makes it special. Nice looking car, and this one has about the same mileage as mine has. It has 42,000 miles on it. And you can see there's a little bit of wear on the airbag area there. The seats got a little bit of wear to it as well. I mean, with these cars, you can't get too picky with their age. They're 20 years old now, but some of them are a lot nicer than others. This one has the 42,000 miles there on the odometer, but the seats looked pretty good. A little bit of wear on them. The passenger seats are always in really good shape. Usually it's the driver's seat that gets worn out, but when you start looking at the engine bay, you start noticing there's some flaking on the valve covers there, cam covers. Those are powder coated from the factory. There's rust on the strut towers on top of the suspension there. And if you look at this timing cover bolt, totally rusted out. So a lot of surface rust on this car. And I've seen really nice cars, low mileage Terminators with 16,000 miles on them that had a lot of surface rust. They were from Massachusetts and stuff. There's another picture of that bolt all rusted out. So those were the things I was showing him to look for. And he was able to get some more pictures from the dealer from underneath. We'll get into those in a minute. But other than that, it looked like a really nice car. Just suffered from having a little bit of surface rust. I don't think this car was rusted through like a lot of them are with this age, depending on their climate. But this one looked like a nice car. Again, low mileage, 10th anniversary. They did change the wheels on them, but there's a 10th anniversary badge on the deck lid. And so cool to see this car and just kind of look through it and see how nice it is. Stock radio, I like to see that. It shows the car probably hasn't been modified too hard. And a lot of times with convertibles, they're not as modified or raced as the coupes were. So a lot of times you can find a pretty nice convertible, judging by the mileage and appearance and everything. I always enjoy seeing the Carfax because it shows a different story than another car is going to have. They're all unique, where they were living, where the cars were, different cities and states, seeing the battery and the charging system gone through. It says that the door panel was replaced. It's showing the low mileage for the first couple owners, and that's pretty good. Something interesting was this one showed a couple of things like the title. Duplicate title was issued twice, I believe, on this car, and the keys were reprogrammed. So that's really interesting, whether that was something like a theft recovery or it wouldn't be a theft recovery because it shows it's clear title, but maybe a repossession, or maybe somebody had passed away and lost the keys to the car, so they had to get them reprogrammed, or you never know. So when you look through the Carfax, I know it doesn't show everything all the time, but it is interesting to see when you have the opportunity. All the Carfaxes I have are really clean and hardly have anything on them, but here's some more of the car. So this is in the showroom where the car was. It's kind of a nice dealership selling nicer, higher-end cars like this. So the Cobra looked really good on the outside. It did have some flaws to it, like there's this little chip out of the fender and the paint there, and swirl marks you can see. One of the big ugly snakes, the Cobra snakes on the grill. And then here are the subframe connectors, kind of rusty looking, kind of ugly looking. And this is without detailing the underside of the car. This is just how it is. And so it actually looks pretty good under here. It doesn't look super rusty, but if we saw the tie rod ends like that, are kind of rusted out. So that one is kind of a pass. So next, it was on to this silver 10th anniversary convertible. And this car only had 7,800 miles on it. Very beautiful car, very nice. I believe this one was pulleyed. We'll get to that. It's mostly stock, but I think it had pulley. It had this really ugly steering wheel cover on the beautiful 10th anniversary steering wheel that has the 10th anniversary carbon fiber leather underneath. So hopefully they didn't put like a glue down or anything, or hopefully that stitched cover doesn't cause trouble with the steering wheel, because these steering wheels are really hard to find. But the seats looked really good. With 7,000 miles, you can't really complain. That's about as good as it's going to get. Back bumper had a few scuffs and scratches on it that they had talked about and mentioned in the ad. So they were pretty transparent about that. I think there's the scratches there. A lot of times people will drag stuff out of the trunk and scratch up the back bumper. But the wheels looked like they were in really good shape, and it had the original Eagle F1 tires on there. So not really safe to be driving on 20-year-old tires. They're probably okay, especially if the car was garaged for like driving around town, but you wouldn't want to go very far on those, especially in freeway speeds or anything. But it's cool that it has the original tires, and that brought up the question of, if you buy the car, do you keep those tires? I say yes, because the original little bit of wear on the seat there. But yeah, tires can be kind of cool to see like that from date coated from 03. And even if you just take them off and put new tires on and keep the old ones, I kind of like that idea. Or just put different wheels on the car and keep those originals the way they are. There's the carbon fiber leather print on the shifter and the parking brake boot. So that's good looking there. Very nice pieces. Glad to see they're still with the car. Interior looked really good. The back seat looked good. Usually nobody ever sits in the back seats of Mustangs. The back seats are always in great shape. Door pulls look good. Those are plastic injected molding. They're not painted for the 10th anniversary, so that's a very nice piece. 7,800 miles. Beautiful car. That looked like a really good one. Nice clear headlights, taillights, everything looked good. So it has an aftermarket pulley, and that was a question, was the car tuned? Hopefully it was. If somebody just changes the pulley, then it's more boost, less fuel for the air ratio, and you can lean out the engine and melt pistons. So hopefully that was done right. There's the timing cover bolt. Looks really nice on this car compared to the other one. So this was a really good option. I think this was one that he would have been very happy with if he had bought it. So here's a little bit of the Carfax, and it had 5 owners. So that's kind of a lot for 7,000 miles. And something interesting I noticed about this was most of the mileage was put on within 1 year. So at first it stayed as kind of a low mileage car, but then a couple of years down the road, it was driven. So you can see like 80 miles, and as we keep going, you can see the other second owner had 280 miles a year, and then a 1,000 miles for the next owner, and then it went like 5,000 miles. The owner 3 drove at 4,700 miles, so owner 3 really put some miles on it compared to what it was. I mean, that's still not a lot of miles, but it's just interesting to see that it went for a little while, and then it got all those miles, and then it sat since like 2009. It hasn't had many more miles put on it, just in the 7,000 range. And so but other than that, pretty clean Carfax. Always just fun to look through and see where it lived and the different dealers it went to and what they did. They seem to always check the charging system. I would think with low mileage cars, the batteries probably go dead a lot from sitting, and so they have the charging systems checked a lot. But other than that, it looked pretty good. So nice, clean Carfax. Now looking underneath the car, it looked really good. This was very clean, a lot cleaner than the other car was. And the transmission has a little bit of speckle on it, kind of the East Coast oxidation that it gets from the condensation in the air, but not as bad as the other car. Everything else looked really good here, very clean. Um, I don't see really any rust under here. Brakes look good, shocks look good, everything looked good. And the reason I'm showing you all this is because I'm part of this decision. As my friend's looking at all these cars, he's calling me and asking me, and we're talking a lot about these different ones. And then it ended up selling. So then this is the car he actually really wanted because it was a lot closer. And it was a car that a friend of mine on Instagram owned, and he was selling it. And so you could buy with confidence with this car because it was coming from someone who had owned several Mustangs, Corvettes, a lot of neat cars. And so when you buy it from a car guy who takes care of it, then you know you're getting something good as well. I mean, the other cars, lower mileage cars from dealers, probably just traded in. But this car was a very, very nice one. And he wanted it, but then my friend had promised it to somebody else, and he had to wait for a few weeks, and the other person was supposed to come up with the money, and then they didn't show up at all. So then it was available again, and I think that was a great one to buy. I told my friend, you should probably buy this one because you're not going to find a whole lot of 10th anniversary silver cars that are in great shape. This one is kind of between what the other ones had. The other one with the 7,800 miles, and then the red one with 43,000. This one had low 30s, like 32,000 miles on it. Here are a couple other cars that my friend had owned before. So here's a silver Terminator. Looks really good. CCW wheels, amber tail lights. And so I was showing my friend all these pictures and saying, these are all the cars he's had, and he's taken really good care of them. So it's always good, like I said, to get from someone like that. So beautiful looking car, and the Cobras he's had have had different superchargers on it. I'll show you those in a second here. He also recently had a competition orange Mach 1, and I believe it also had the CCW wheels that he had taken off and put on for a little while on the convertible. And here are the Terminator Cobras he's had, the coupes. So the silver one had a VMP supercharger on it. The white one was a Kenny Bell car. And he had a red one with a Whipple supercharger on it. So he was able to have those Terminators with the different superchargers on them and enjoy them. And so that's pretty cool. So when you're buying a nice Cobra like this convertible, my friend was getting, I felt like he was getting it from somebody who knew what they were talking about and who took care of the car. So he agreed to sell him the car with the original 10th anniversary wheels on it. So this is how the car looks now. And I think that's a really good look because it does make it kind of special. I don't have the 10th anniversary wheels on my car right now, but I do have them on my red 03 Cobra. So my friend does want to get the FR500s on this one again, make it look like the other one did. So these are really nice wheels, and I think he's going to have them up for sale, but you can look on Facebook on the Michigan area, and if you see those wheels up for sale, he might be selling them soon. But anyway, beautiful looking car, has the switchback clear corner headlights, and just the seats are looking great. And he said he's having a great time with those seats. I asked him how he likes it, and he said it's great. He went with his grandson to pick it up. And that was a really great grandfather trip that they got to go on to pick this car up. And he got to drive it home, the grandson. And I got to meet him when he came out here to Utah. So really great kid, going to college. He worked for MRT for a little bit with Scott Hogue. And just into cars. He has a Focus ST. He really likes the Mustangs as well. So great opportunity for him to hang out with his grandpa and get to drive that Cobra home. I told him, man, at your age, I couldn't even drive a Cobra like that. Like, I didn't get my Cobra till I was almost 30 years old. And so pretty cool to see him getting to drive that car at such a young age and enjoy it and go on a trip and do that. Because I get to do that with his grandpa, my friend. A few times we've gone and gotten the Shelbys in California and driven them home and stuff. And now he's got to do it. And that's just a really fun experience. And I'm sure it was a great time. So my friend is going to do a few little things with this car. It's still a stock pulley Cobra, so all stock engine. he wants to get it pulleyed and tuned, and he wants to do those FR 500 wheels with the anthracite color on them again. And he's already bought a snake for the front of the car with the red inserts. Yes, the Cobras all came with the running horse, and this one still had the running horse on it, so that's pretty lucky to find one that stock that hasn't been modified. I like the snake in the front. I have it on both of my Terminator Cobras, and I think it belongs on there. But a lot of people do like the running horse, and so he wants to go to the snake, and he thought it'd be cool to have the one with the red in it to match the seats. So pretty cool. But anyway, been doing a lot of work with this car, just over the phone, talking and giving advice, and talking back and forth with my friend and discussing the other options. And lots of hours have gone into this, so I just thought I might as well share with everyone what I've been up to, and share this video and show how fun this is to get another Cobra for my friend. And now he finally has the car he wanted with the red seats, and that's really awesome for him. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more Mustang content.